Welcome everyone to the final round of the FIDE Grand Swiss 2025. We have Grandmaster Divya Deshmukh making her way to the board. She puts her jacket on the table. She's taking on Ivan Cheparinov from Bulgaria in the final round. Ivan Cheparinov, well known for being the second of Vasilin Topalov in his prime years and also a very big expert in the opening. Divya has had a pretty good event here. She has had draws with Donchenko, Karthikeyan Murli, Sargsyan, Gukesh, Injik, and she also has beaten Amin Basim and Velimir Ivic. So last round she'll be looking to play well, as we see the FIDE president Arkady Dvorkovich coming in to wish Divya the best before her game. And there we see also her opponent Ivan Cheparinov coming in. The first move to this game will be made by Dvorkovich here. And FIDE has been quite amazing for Divya in this tournament. They gave her the wild card. They also made sure that there was a fixed board for her so that a lot of people can follow her games. And there we see the first move being made by Arkady. He goes pawn to d4 here, and I'm pretty sure that Divya is going to take that back, and yeah, very quickly taken back because she is a 1e4 player. In the background we have Olisa Tennyson and Jobawa who are going to play each other, and a handshake between Divya and Cheparinov opens the game with 1e4. We have pawn to c5, knight comes out to f3, and now pawn to e6 played. Will Divya go for the open Sicilian with d4? No, she plays c3. This is a line that she likes to play. Knight to f6 played, attacking the pawn on e4, and she pushes the pawn to e5, converting this into Sicilian Alapin. Knight to d5, pawn comes up to d4, and now Cheparinov takes on d4, c takes d4 taken, and pawn to d6 striking in the center. Divya plays her bishop to c4, putting pressure on the knight on d5. The bishop comes out to e7, and now she goes short castles. And black also short castles. If you see, the big imbalance in the position is white's space advantage with the pawns there. Bishop c4 played by Divya. Queen e2. She plays her queen to e2, a6, trying to play b5, and knight comes out to c3. Now Ivan takes on e5, and you can take back with the pawn, but you can also take with the knight. Divya prefers to take with the pawn and keep her space advantage. But on the flip side, now after knight c3, b takes c3, she has a weak pawn on c3. But that doesn't deter Divya because she sees other benefits. b5 played, and now a very interesting move could be queen e4 attacking the rook, and then bishop d3, but she goes directly bishop d3. This allows bishop b7 to be played. So bishop b7 played here by Ivan, and now pawn to a4, a very useful move hitting the structure here. Knight comes to d7, and notice that if you take on b5 here, which what Divya does, trying to win a pawn, black has an intermezzo with knight to c5, a great move. And if you now take ba6, there's knight d3, and you can't take on b7 as the rook is hanging. So that's the reason why she goes back bishop c2, but now a takes b5 taken, and the rook on a1 is hanging. So bishop e3 putting pressure on the c5 knight here, and queen comes to c7. Now I feel that black is the one for preference here, for the simple reason that these two pawns are weak, but Divya is like, look, my bishop now protects both of them. Queen c6 played, trying to pressurize the g2 point. h4 played by Divya. Very interesting. She's trying to make some weaknesses on the king side. h5 by e1, and now rook to b1, trying to attack the b5 pawn. Rook takes rook taken here. She takes back with the rook, and now rook comes to a8. I believe Divya could take on a8, but then rook b1 looks like a stronger move because you are putting pressure on b5, and e1 goes rook to a5 defending that pawn, and she plays pawn to c4. I like this move a lot because she's getting rid of her final weakness. B takes c4, queen takes c4. Now the position is equal. There are some ideas of takes, pressure here. Brings back the knight to d7, offering a trade of pieces. Divya once again avoids it. She didn't like the fact that here there is pressure on f3 and e5. So queen b3, bishop goes to a8, and queen to d3, threatening a checkmate here. g6 played, and now bishop to b2. This already gives white black some great position. Queen c7 is a good move. She goes rook c5, but look at queen c7 with the idea of taking here. Knight e5 would have been great. Knight c5 coming in, but rook c5 played, and now rook to a1. That's always Divya's style. Counter attack. Rook takes c8, c2. You take on a8. If queen takes, you have the queen takes c2. So knight goes back to f8, and Divya attacks the queen. You have queen to c5 played, threatening this pawn. Bishop d4, defending it, and rook c1 check. King h2 played, and queen to d5. Plays queen e3, wants to get in here. Knight g5, maybe the rook comes back to c4, and I think Divya has managed to kind of get that counter play, which helps her keep the equality. King h3 played here, slightly weird move. King g7, and definitely black doesn't have too many things to worry about here. Queen to d2 played, and now bishop to d8. Goes bishop e3, offering a queen trade. Takes, bishop takes d2, and will the e5 pawn be a weakness? Bishop c7 attacking here, and bishop a5 instantly played. If you play bishop e5, I have rook d7. If you play knight e5, I have bishop c7. So bishop takes a5, and now rook takes a5. With every trade, it seems we are getting close to a draw, and look at Divya there. She's so exhausted there because of the time trouble. She had 54 seconds only as they reached the 40th move. And Ivan is taking his time because now with Divya getting so much time on the clock, it will be difficult to create something out here. But he's still trying. Maybe he would love to get his knight to d5. Rook comes back to a3. And now rook e4, attacking the pawn here. And Divya brings her rook to e3. I like this trade of rooks, although it doubles the pawns. It's very difficult for the black king to somehow travel all the way to come and attack this pawn, and that's not going to be possible. So maybe king g3, king f4. She plays pawn to g3 here. King f8, king g2, King comes up to e7. And she goes knight to g5. Knight comes to d3, attacking the pawn. Knight comes back to f3, defending the pawn. Brings the knight back. And Divya goes knight to g5, stopping the king from moving as f7 is weak. And I think there's enough. Repetition offers a draw, and the players agree to a draw. Divya ends this tournament with 5 points out of 11. A great score for her. She gains 20 ELO points as well, reaching to 2498, very close to getting 2500 on the ELO rating list. For her, this was a good preparation for the women's candidates that is going to come up. And with this score, she is actually doing really well. She's also climbed up to the women's rankings at number 11 position.